Okay, great. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for being here. Stephen, there's one thing that makes my blood boil. It's when our elderly loved ones get taken advantage of. And I happen to be in the kitchen of a friend of mine. She's 80 years old, and she's just told me a couple things that have happened in the last 12 hours, if I can share, and maybe we can get a wrench thrown into what's happening for her and her husband.
Shoot.
First of all, over the summer, they've had identity theft, just bank crazy stuff. And the bank doesn't really do anything to help them, of course. But anyway, so last night she called her husband's, from her cell phone to her husband's cell phone. And her husband was on the property here. And, but somebody else answered it. And he said that he had her husband in captivity, and if she didn't pay so much money, he was going to murder him. So she was looking at her husband basically and just kind of messed with the guy. You know, now we're saying, hey, this is serious. Somebody is hacking into your phone calls, because again, she called her husband's phone and somebody else answered, and it's not the first time.
And he said that.
And
he said that he had kidnapped my husband.
Right. He told her that her husband was kidnapped. So there's that. And then today, because she's had all these problems, because I think at the core of it, their identity has been stolen. But they've had a lot of bank problems this summer. And her car payment was on auto pay. And they got a call this morning saying that the car is being repossessed. And they had no idea. They've just been dealing. They just moved. There's a lot going on. But so we have two things, is that, basically, well, a few things. So what I would like, if it's okay, for you to address my friend Wanda and tell her a couple things that we might do. One thing I'm suggesting is that we go and get a couple burner phones, and they quit using the old phones immediately. And we get them in the name of a trust, which we can do. But anyway, here is Wanda.
Hi.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Wanda. So yeah, the burner phones is a must, right?
Okay.
So since the vector by which that they have compromised you is unknown at this time, it could be that there's something that they installed on your phone. They got access to your contacts and everything that's in there. We don't know, right? So we take the conservative approach. First off, don't use the phones and shut them off or turn them off physically, right? Not that that'll really stop a dedicated attacker. Get different communication devices. You need to keep those phones separate because you don't know if it's someone who's actually nearby that has that kind of technology to hack into that stuff, which it exists. I know this. So they could just be intercepting your calls as you're making them. And that's how they did that, because the odds of them actually changing the phone number for your husband when you tried to call them on your phone is a very specific level of they've violated so many laws. That's like FBI level. And you need to get law enforcement involved, because the banks aren't going to do crap until law enforcement's involved, right?
I did wonder about that, if I should call the police and report.
Not the police. Okay. I mean, if you're going to call anybody, you're going to start with your sheriff, go to the state police, contact the FBI and the FTC. Because if they're intercepting your phone calls, they've violated many laws. And if they're not local, that means they're somewhere else. Just means they're violating international law. Boom, got them there. But you need to be able to write all this down, right? You need affidavits attesting to these things, yourself and your husband. You need to let, who is that? All of the credit bureaus know, and the FTC, aggravated identity theft, right? Because someone is pretending to be you and attempting to take control of your estate or your trust and act on your behalf, right? So it actually deals quite a bit of what we're doing in here. It's just they're more actively attacking your life, whereas recoupment is more about they've passively attacked us. So definitely don't wait, because if they have access to, for example, the data in your phone, they've got your passwords, your logins, all this stuff, your identity. They could have bought it on the dark web, and they got some passwords, email addresses, and all that stuff. So you need to change passwords left and right. I mean, it's a huge hassle at this point. And I've had to do it before because it's happened to me before.
Do you suggest a password manager?
I have a password manager. It's got over 250 passwords in it.
Okay, I do too. Okay.
Yep. So, and it's a standalone outside of the United States. type password manager software.
Okay.
So, because I don't trust the establishment. I don't care who's in office. There's still so many bad apples here everywhere.
Yeah. Well, so Wanda lives way out in the country, and yeah, 30 minutes from a very small town. So chances are it's in a small, very, very nice, very mellow neighborhood. So chances are the attack is from beyond the county.
Local. Yeah, very, very slim that it's local. Always the possibility. We've had so many hostile actors brought in over the last several years, right? So we don't know the true extent of where they're located. And it could have been someone got a job at a local telecommunications company and put a tracking and hacking device into one of the communication hubs. We don't know. But we have to let the FTC know, because they're the ones in charge of that. Now, you can even say, here are the case files I opened with the sheriff's, state police, FBI, and FTC. Here are these cases. I think your network is compromised. I'm on this service provider. This has happened. This phone call I tried to make. They could trace route it, right? They could do all those things.
Right. Now, Wanda,
so they'll be able to
recorded,
tell.
so we can listen later. Okay, great. Now, Stephen, if I can ask, buddy, pal, can you reassure Wanda that this Band-Aid that we're going to do with the phone, that we can get this to go away? It's doable. This is not life-threatening. This is all doable.
Yeah, 100%. Right? Because you're aware of it, right? They made the screw up of intercepting your call and saying that they had kidnapped him when they didn't know you have eyes on your husband.
Right.
Right? Like, this stuff happens a lot. People get fleeced for a lot of money a lot of the time. And they didn't even go to the extent of, replicating his voice using AI to do that. Right? So they're not the brightest, right? Like, there's levels of, bad guys. They're not at the top, which is great. So this is easily handleable.
Well, and Wanda's quite a force. In fact, she told them something to the tune of, go ahead and torture him.
I said, go ahead, torture him. I want a divorce him.
Stephen, anything else? This has been brilliant. I can't thank you enough.
A document. You got to have your documentation, right? Because they want to know what happened, where it happened, who'd you talk with, what they sound like, any details you can provide to them. But do not get discouraged if you talk to the sheriff like, oh, we don't handle that. Be like, yeah, that's fine. I was going to go talk to the state troopers anyway and the FBI. I just wanted to let you know. And then that right there can incentivize them to, get their head right, that this is an actual thing. Because people don't just willy-nilly, I'm going to the FBI to complain. I'm going to go to the FTC to complain. Right?
Gotcha.
So this is a thing. So don't let any one of these law enforcement people or federal agency like FTC, if the person you talk to isn't taking it seriously, that's fine. We know there's bad apples and bad agents all over the place. You've found one. Right? So it's just keep moving. Like, there are people who are dedicated to these sorts of things that will eventually find out. You just have to be the squeaky wheel and keep throwing those sparks saying, hey, there's a problem over here. Mm-hmm. I've got evidence. And when you do have those other phones, try and record one of these conversations with them.
We can do that. Great.
Yeah, because that's great evidence. Like, look, this is happening.
Okay, great. Okay, so we'll get together call logs and all that. We're good. I'm a daughter of a 2-time Marine, former law enforcement officer, trained at the FBI. He taught me well. So, and we have people like you. So thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if you can, contact the cell phone provider and be like, hey, someone intercepted one of my phone calls I was trying to make to my husband on this date at this time, and it got intercepted, and some third party was claiming that they kidnapped him. I need that data around that phone call.
Excellent.
Because if it connected to their network, they should have evidence of that connection.
Exactly.
Like, that's a requirement.
Okay, well, we'll get new phones today, and we'll listen to the recording and sit down with our plan of action, and we'll make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And there might be other resources I completely didn't mention, right? This isn't an isolated or a new thing. But it's definitely get law enforcement involved, definitely get the FTC involved. I mean, and if you have X, or your Truth Social and you know how to use those platforms, post about it, tag somebody, tag everybody, tag a congressman, tag a senator, tag one of your representatives, tag the president, tag that president or the Tulsi Gabbard, head of DNI, head of the NSA, head of the CIA, head of the FBI, tag everybody.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. I'm sorry you're going through that.
It's Wanda, if you don't mind my saying, somebody actually ripped them off this summer to the tune of, I won't even say the dollar amount, but within the dollar amount, they went and bought a freaking car. Okay. The banks haven't really done anything but help them set up new accounts. And maybe I'm overstepping here, but I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad I decided to come on the Recoupers call and say, hey, Wanda, come on over here. Let's figure this out.
Yeah. I mean, banks follow prescribed procedures. If law enforcement's not involved, they are very hesitant to act as long as their interest isn't being, diminished, because they want to make that money. If someone steals, hey, they make money on the transfers. They don't really care.
Yeah.
Right. But if the law enforcement are involved, they have to follow very specific procedures. They must produce specific records that law enforcement require.
Well, we'll start working on some affidavits ASAP, and we'll get them notarized Monday.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And if you have any smart devices in your house, I would be very suspicious of them at this point.
Can you give examples of that, please?
Yeah. Alexa, Google, Amazon, Smart TV.
Smart TV. Possibly Smart TV, but not Alexa.
Well, we just need to look at getting everything within the protection of a trust with the family. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. We yield. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you. That's a great warm-up topic. All right. Who else has her questions or situations they want to ask about?
I have a question. Hi, everybody.
Hello. What's your question?
Okay, so I was looking at the platform of 1522, right? And it had maybe over 1K responses, and several individuals were saying that it doesn't work. So then I listened to that last audio that was put up with Jeremy and Joshua, I think their names were, and how something was done. So this is my take. I've only been in here around 5 years doing this, but I ran across someone that had used that, but with a collaboration of other documents. I don't know if it still works, because once you put something out there and everybody runs to it, they kind of like change the goalpost, so they say it doesn't work any longer. So I was just wondering, what do you think about that? Because I've even saw a letter in one of the platforms that stated that there was nothing there for them. There was nothing, that you could redeem or anything like that. And the other side of this is, I have a TDA account that I've had for a couple of years, not much in it, but I, while I was in the process, I did make an account for myself. And at that time, I was able to go into it and see that my license number had came up, my social number had came up, when you look for those EE bonds. And it came out to be that it's MA, meaning that it's already matured, because I'm like double times 30. And I think after 30 years, it doesn't gain any more interest. So I'm saying that I think that the 1522 goes along with something like that. I'm not really sure. It's just like some inklings about it. The 1522 goes with that, as well as the age of majority. And that's just like a whole lot of scrambled information. But anybody else know anything about that?
Well, so I would highly discourage anyone attempting the 1522 without having proper standing. Mm-hmm. And there are very few people who have actually been in recoupers who have gotten proper standing to execute those without repercussions. Mm-hmm. And attempting to do that process without the proper standing they will close any TDA account you have and bar your social for life.
Mhm.
And you will not be able to open a trust account using that SSN also. So there's that. The calculator that they have on their website has absolutely no connection to any external databases. And I mean, it is merely a code that is ran on that web page that you're on, and it just bases it off of what data you put in and the numbers you select, which is another way of saying it is completely devoid of any authenticity to reality. I can code that myself on my computer, not connected to the internet, and get the same result. It's very simple math.
Mhm.
So, yes, it is great to look at, to imagine what those values are, but that calculator doesn't connect to any database to search them, which sucks. Right? So, not to say that those things don't exist, because they are traded and it is chattel paper. It's just you have to be going through one of those brokers that has access to those databases. Fidelity is one of them, but you can't see it for free anymore, or no one can see it for free anymore.
Yes.
They removed it because people started finding out about it and telling others about it.
Mhm.
And yes, they do close loopholes because they exist. I mean, they're not really a loophole. It's the law. It's people are properly learning and executing the law as it is written to get those things, recoupment. As people find out about it, these private processes, and they bring them into the public and start mixing, guess what? It evaporates. Because private and public should not be mixing. Right? So it's not that people can't learn about the private things or the private methods of remedy. As soon as it touches public, it is toxic. And I mean that in the sense of it will be shut down because people who love usury and don't really care will try and smash that process to death. And they do. So if anyone is pro usury, one prime example of that is learning a private process and telling everyone about it publicly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the wrong way to do it. You have to do it privately. So you're going to be talking onesies, twosies, threesies.
Yeah, a lot of people try out and do these processes without even knowing how to, sometimes I'm going to say, and then say somebody else knows about it and tries to do it, and then they get blocked off because of the several others that would, everybody's hungry right now. I get that. But it's so crazy how it happens. Like if you're not first in line, first in time, that's it. If you get in through, because there's some things that I did and it went through, and if I told somebody now 2-3 years later, it wouldn't go. It wouldn't work for them.
Right.
And then I'd look like I'm telling a lie when I know that, like the 2848, I'm gonna say this and then go. The 2848, they said you cannot do your all caps name, right? And your representative could not be your upper lower. I got a CAF number with mine a few years ago. So I'm saying that's not true. I have it. They can't take it away from me now, but I do have the they're saying that you can't do your name, your straight all caps name, your blue card name. But I have that with the CAF number. So I was wondering how significant that was. I mean, me myself.
Right. I mean, because it's a matter of perception. Right? So from your perspective, your perception is it can be done because you did it.
Mm-hmm.
Completely different set of circumstances and the time of execution that allowed it to happen, which is, I say it frequently. And when I see people post about this particular type of thing saying, hey, has anyone ever got X, Y, or Z? Does this actually work? I just really don't respond to it because, and unless people have the capability of understanding, there's about 1 billion different variables that go into answering that. And if you can only conceptualize 2 of them, it's a waste of time to explain it.
Yes.
Because there's so many things that go into all of it. Like, is it raining at the time that your auditor is auditing you is a factor in your success. That is not a joke. It's not a joke. I've dealt with federal level auditors. There's the minute thing that can screw up your day when dealing with these people. The very minute thing. Or here's a good one. You know that when you put on socks, you got that little stitch line that goes onto the top of your toes, and depending sometimes it like moves and it irritates the hell out of your foot. That could cause you to fail an audit. It has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with how well we're prepared. It has nothing to do with what we would reasonably consider anything. But it is a variable that matters. Because how they feel, and we don't know who they are, has a lot to do with success or failure. I mean, they have guidelines that they have to follow, but they're also given a huge latitude in their interpretation and how they feel when they audit or when they review and approve.
It's almost like a draw.
Yes, it looks like luck because there's so many variables that people can't conceptualize. So when someone says, yes, this works, I've got to check. And then someone says, well, I couldn't do it and I did it the exact same way you did. Okay. You just eliminated 2 variables. There's still a billion minus 2 variables you didn't think about. Right?
That's
so
correct. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, because people tend to like quick, fast, in a hurry, I got results. Life doesn't work that way. Nothing in life works that way. And if you think it works that way, you've got incredible luck. That's all. So
Thank you.
It's just be well prepared and be prepared mentally before you are physically. Defend your square. Stand on your square. Because I've had horrible luck when it comes to doing paperwork and anything government related. And I was in the military. Sometimes I had to do stuff 3 times, and that includes full vaccination schedules. Because we lost it from 2 weeks ago. You got to do it again. I'm like, seriously? How did you guys lose that many vaccines? Don't you document who you went into? Well, I got to keep a record of it. So I have been mentally prepared for, oh, we lost your stuff. Can you send everything again? For years. It's a way of life at this point for me. So I fully expect them to screw something up or say, nah, do it again. So my expectations are very, very low. So when something like, beats my expectations, I'm like, yeah, it's amazing. I only had to do it twice.
For real.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, it bears repeating. It cannot be overstated enough. Just because you think you're prepared doesn't mean that they're having a great day. So, yeah.
Thank
you.
No problem.
Jan, I'm reading your post right now.
I'm here.
Okay, so did the bank actually call her to tell her of the repossession?
She got a call this morning. She had no idea the account was even in jeopardy. They've just had so much going on this summer. And we're not sure that it was a bank. We're just not sure of anything over these tainted phones, right?
Right, exactly. And you got a call on a Saturday, which is very suspicious. I'd say, well, first off, if you can log into the bank portal where that information would be easily represented, do that. To make sure that those payments have gone through. And if they hadn't, because someone changed that information, the auto pay information, I'd start writing down a list of questions to ask the bank when you go talk to them. Or if you just talk to them on the phone, such as, who canceled the auto pay? Was it over the phone? Was it in person? Was it online? And if it was online, I want to see, I'm requesting that information because I believe it was aggravated identity theft. Right? So this goes back to getting law enforcement involved, and this will be evidence for that. And just tell them that. If it was over the phone, who called in? How did they validate identity? If they did it in person, I'm going to need to see those records. I want to see the security information, or what was the date and the time that this happened? Because they had to, for example, my banks, they have a scan of my license. I think one has a scan of my passport. Because, crazy enough, I have someone who looks very similar to me, has a very similar social and bank account, and one time they updated my account information with his ID card somehow. So we want to see this information, right? And you're going to need it for any law enforcement activities, because if they did it in person, well, yep, that's definitely aggravated identity theft and bank fraud. And if they did it online, well, you could toss in wire fraud as well. So it's check online, see what these things are done, start writing down questions. If you see online the payments have already been made, that wasn't a call from the bank. And usually people who are targeted by such activities is they're attempting to create a sense of anxiety and an imperative to move now. Otherwise, bad things happen, like we've kidnapped somebody, or we're going to come repossess your car. Because usually, if you've been making missing car payments, they're going to send you notifications. They're going to send you letters in the mail, right?
Right.
They have to notice you. Your credit's going to be impacted, so you might get update notifications from your credit monitoring. Like, that could just be me. My data has been stolen so many times. I've had 100% credit monitoring for like the last 8 years. Yay. Go scammers. So
well, okay. So scenario B, it's all a big fake. I mean, scenario A, it's all a big fake. Scenario B, what if it's for real? I mean, I'm not above taking a car and putting it in the woods or something like that. I mean, obviously they need their car, especially way out here. Any
yeah, I mean, just ask the bank. Hey, sorry, I've been targeted by people who are pretending to be me, pretending to kidnap my family. I didn't realize that they had changed my auto pay stuff. I'm getting an aggravated identity theft case open with law enforcement. How can I pay this account up so that we're good? Right? Because if they haven't been taking the auto pay, there should still be money available, I would hope. Right? Not that it happens, but there should be an amount to bring it good. To see if you can, ask for forgiveness.
Yeah,
like, I'm sorry. I didn't know someone was stealing my identity and changing all my banking details. That's my bad. I have the money.
Well,
right?
I think she called this morning and they said it'll be obviously earliestly Monday, but somebody would get back in touch with her by Wednesday. So, again, to the first issue, we need to get them to stop using these phones immediately.
Right. Yeah, immediately. And if you can get another phone today, do it. Even if it's just a little clamshell flip phone with, no frills.
Yeah, we're on it. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. I yield.
Good questions. Good points.
Okay, I have a question about the 8281 form.
Okay.
The responsible party, I think it is, for the interests of securities. What does that take for you? What is that? What's your take on that? Like, for example, I would, let's say Amazon is, taking securities because I signed in or whatever, and I decided to change the responsible party's address, not the address for the business, but where it says the mailing area.
Right.
Did you hear anything about that, or do you know anything about that?
Okay, well, first, let me make sure we're talking about the same form. So, Form 8281, the information returned for publicly offered original issue discount instruments form?
No, hang on a second. Let me just get one of these here. I might have had it wrong. Could be 88. Maybe that's...
I think you're talking about the 8822B.
Yes, that's close. Actually, it is.
That form, I have not had to use that form outside of establishment of businesses. So,
okay. So
my understanding is probably not what you're looking for, but I can imagine that unless you are one of those individuals who is a responsible party for a particular business, you shouldn't touch this form to change the responsible party information of a business.
Well, I thought that this form here, if you look at 8822B, I don't know if you have it in front of you. It says, the first box says check all boxes that change effects. It says employee, excise, income, other business. It's supposedly be sent out with a 2848 to like the entity that's, I guess, accumulating the securities for when you sign up something, maybe a credit card or something. Let's say a credit card for that instance, and it goes in the business name, and then it has the address. And I was to take and put my postal box information with my trust name, and the interest would come to me because it is mine officially. It's not theirs. Instead, it would come to me through the trust. That's what I mean, like a B2B kind of transfer. Not change the address per se, but change the responsible party's name.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I don't have enough
Can I?
knowledge about this.
Who's that?
Yeah, ma'am, what you
I'm
got?
sorry, I'm outside. Well, that is just. I'm going to give you a scenario. I have no knowledge when it comes to any other. So, for what I know, that's a formal form that you file. I'm going to give you a scenario, my personal scenario. I have a C corp, right? And I want my C corp to perform under my trust. So I will use that form to let them know that I'm pulling my C corp out of the public sector to be under my trust and only perform in the private sector. And everything that my C corp will generate any revenue, it will be under my trust. So you're putting them on notice. You let them know, and you have to. It takes 60 days, 2 months. You have to do it within 60 days of making the pertinent changes to allegate the responsibility to the trust, if I explain myself correctly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So you have to let them know, like me, I have my C Corp and I was doing property management. But coming into these processes, I'm doing administrative process, Monroe Asset Management, and we do professional administrative service, right? But I'm pulling my company from the public sector, so I can perform under the authority of my trust, and I'm protecting my C corp. Everything that I'm going to be doing, it's going to be in the private. Even though I'm going to be performing for other people, they're not going to be paying me. They're going to be giving me, oh my God, I lost the word. Donations.
Compensation. Okay.
They're going to be donations. Exactly. I hope that cleared that question.
Is your donations monetary, if I may ask?
Yes. They have to. Yes.
Yeah, any type of donation has a monetary value regardless of its structure.
In most. And make sure that everything banking wise, it's linked to your trust account. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, but the pertinent thing about this form is it's your business, not the accounts of your business with another party.
No. Exactly. Make sure that you are the legal owner, and that you that you have it on your minutes, and that if you have partners in the company, that they are trust minutes documenting everything, because I'm pretty sure pretty much everybody has knowledge of this. Everything has to be documented. Make sure that, because now you have a C corp or a corporation or whatever entity that you're bringing under your trust umbrella, that you are keeping clean booking ledgers. Document everything. Handwriting is the best documentation that you can do. I do keep everything on my Excel, or but I'm 60 years old. I keep everything handwritten. Okay? Very important, guys. This is something that when you read the IRM, it tells you there very clearly that your ledger has to be explicit and in handwriting. I know that
Yeah.
because I read it.
Yeah,
Okay?
they like to see handwriting because
Yeah.
it shows life,
Yeah.
basically. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. If I can ask a question to the young lady, to the individual who was just speaking about the trust, is this a revocable trust you're speaking about?
Yes,
Oh,
because
sorry.
yeah. Are you asking me?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes, I
okay.
am.
Well, see, the thing about it is, for what we are doing for recoupment, it has to be a revocable trust. You can have you irrevocable trust, but for these processes, which is the ABB process, and that's the only one, because of, it's very important, guys. When you engage on these processes, you have to have the proper standings. And Stephen addressed something that I don't think is addressed enough in this community, and that is respect to. I give respect to those who have the knowledge to perform and do the processes that they are doing when they're claiming millions and millions of dollars. But you have to have the proper standings. If not, what you are creating is liability. Me personally, it took me a while, okay? It took me a while before I can even actually move forward with things, because if I don't understand it and if it doesn't make sense to me, I'm not going to do it. Of course, when you come in, we do a lot of things out of emotions, and you become part of this bubble of illusion. And this is how I say it respectfully, guys. Okay. I'm not calling. No, this is me. This is my personal humble opinion. Okay. You have to understand what you are doing, because one of the things that you will be asked is, and I'm saying this because I have had a one-on-one with the IRS agent. Okay. So the very first thing that they're going to ask you, where are those credits coming from? And you have to be able to elaborate clearly. Okay. And if you cannot elaborate where those credits are coming from, then you don't have the standings. Now, when it comes to the ABV process, I'm pretty sure, and I hope that each and everyone engaging in these processes have a clear understanding where the credits are coming from. And that is the path of less resistance for everyone to get remedy in a timely manner. If you submit your documents, your filings clear in the proper way, believe me, the IRS is the one that benefit the most when your file goes through. Make sure you understand what I'm saying right now. Okay, you get paid, they are getting paid, but they will not process a file, okay, that doesn't have the proper standings to be approved by the system. So, that being said, think about this. Why people that file their taxes on 2024 January are still dealing with the IRS unable to have the return in their bank account. My advice to each and everyone, I hope people get this message. Go and reassess. Go and see what needs to be corrected. Go and see if you need to zero out or cancel stuff that you got on your transcripts or things that you did. After I spoke to the IRS, I'm going to tell you this, guys. The ESMV filing that everybody run with that information, it has become a liability. And I hate to say this here, but it needed to be said. And that those, see, people that did the, for those of us that did the ESSMBs, one thing that I wish I know is how to cancel those, because they're sitting in our transcripts. And one thing I want you guys to know, that everything that is sitting in our transcripts, they can see. For those of us that also did this CP 575 for millions and millions of dollars, or got gifted an INT for millions of dollars, but there is no standings of where those credits came from, it's a liability. So that being said, guys, this is for educational purposes only. Okay? Go and review. If you have things in your transcripts that you created because you were in the heat of the moment, like we all were, okay? Reality right now needs to be checked and correct the record. Reach out. If you did a CP 575, okay? If you have an A sitting, if you file an A on your CP 575 and that is sitting on your transcripts, reach out to the people with love, respect, and gratitude, because I'm pretty sure, guys, that nobody did this on purpose to harm anybody. Okay? We were all on this running with the flow. But that needs to be corrected, because that right there is hurting your 1040 filing for you to claim the ABVs, guys. And I'm saying this from a place of love, guys. Okay? That's the reason why I have been attending RECOUPERS, looking forward every other week to be part of it. Because this information is coming after I had a very intense conversation with the IRS, guys. And I'm very grateful for that woman. Okay? We need to remove the liability that was created in our transcripts. That's not going to go away. But if you zero that out, if you request them to zero out the CP 575, the A that was created for millions and millions of dollars, okay? That's not going to be removed, but ask them to zero it out. Zero that out and to send them a letter. Send them a letter correcting the record so you can keep it on your file, guys. Because see, we are here doing something and we want to look competent. We don't look competent the way we were performing. We look like a whole bunch of savage that did not know what we were doing, and that's how we were treated. Respectfully. Because we were running with the information that we were finding along the pathway that we were running, because everybody is hurting financially, guys. And that is acceptable. But it's also acceptable to take a minute to reassess the situation and why people is not getting their refunds. And I'm going to add this over here, respectfully, for those that are getting ahead with one process, 2 or 3. But when you look at the numbers in Recouper, okay, it's close. If lately I haven't seen it, but it's past the 10,000. Okay, let's say that a lot of people got their refund. The numbers, the ratio doesn't add up, guys. It's to the best interest for the IRS, for the process to get through, guys, because they're getting the share of the funds. Your file goes through, you get your 24%, and the IRS gets the rest. They want to work those files, okay? If you file for your 1099 A and Bs, okay? If you're claiming your credits, reassess the information and how you completed those filings. That's all I have to say. Correct the record. Zero out your CP 575, the A that it was created. Do what needs to be done so you guys can get your refunds. That's it. I just want everybody to win. We have the tools, guys, to get those funds in our bank accounts. Make sure that you have your trust bank account to get the funds, not your personal account. There are very small little details that a lot of people did not take in consideration. And nobody, I'm going to say this and I cannot address this enough. I don't think anybody did anything on purpose to harm anybody. We are sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of being played and always being in survival mode, no matter how hard you work. And when we see the light where we can get remedy, we're going to run with that information. We all did. But it's time for us to hit the freaking brakes and reassess. Come on now. Let's reassess. Why isn't people, like I addressed this about 3 days ago to somebody very dear to me. And only one scenario was brought up to me. Oh, but this person got there. That is just one. And don't tell me that people are keeping their mouth shut, not sharing their wins. Because one of the things that I know about this community is that we want all of us to win. We share everything with everybody in Recoupers. So I know that when somebody wins, they post it here. They don't run and hide, guys, because you know what? Our community want remedy for everybody. The only thing is that we were sharing information without having proof of concept. And that it's okay. It's acceptable. But now it's time to take a deep breath and reassess the situation and correct the Record family. Okay? And this is coming from a place of love, from somebody that has been in I'm telling you guys, 16 years of my life, I have been advocating for the housing community, for the underserved community, and for the homeless community. So to me, this is personal. To me, being able to finally get the processes that are sticking and giving people the remedy that they need and deserve, that belongs to them, that's what wakes me up in the middle of the night. And it bothers me. It doesn't keep my spirit. It's active to find that process that sticks and gets people remedy. And like I said, one of the things that I want to address is all the people that filed their taxes for 2024 early in the year that haven't received their funds, that they are expecting. Did I file EAP? Did I file CP 575, the A, for the millions and millions of dollars? Did I claim the $250 for the ESSMB? And if you did, correct the record and just leave your beats. Okay? That is coming, guys, from a place of love, gratitude for the people that have brought the light into my life when it comes to this process. I want to thank Queen, Glory, Pierre, Elaine, and many others. It's a master group of minds that are working tremendously to make sure we get to the final line so we can bring it to the community, because we are sick and tired of being sick and tired, guys. Okay? And I need to bring this, and we're being attacked. We're being attacked because we have chosen to pull ourselves away. Oh, and Patricia, okay? And many others, guys. We are working so hard. Because we find, after talking with the IRS guys, it was a divine moment. And we need it. And when we reach out to the people, to the leaders who were doing those processes, we got attacked. I don't mean no harm. I just want the record to be corrected. Because if you cannot okay, if you cannot prove, if you don't have a tracking record where those credits are coming from, you are not in good standings. Everybody can prove where your ABVs, your bank deposits, and your credit card payments are coming from. Those credits, they belong to you. But if you are filing in your taxes and claiming the 250 for the ESNB, I'm not saying that that's not legit. What I'm saying is, do you have the standings? Do you have the knowledge to fight it and debate it with the IRS? Or to actually go there and have an argument with the IRS defending those funds. And don't tell me, well, a lot of people got it. Bring them to me. Bring me at least 30% of Cooper, 30% of recoupers that filed the ESSMB that have gotten the return. I'm telling you, the ESSMBs right now is a liability for those that have filed the 1040 filing. Okay? Your account is being assessed. Correct the record. Just go correct the record. With love and gratitude, correct the record. Work on your your AMBs. That's it. That's it. I'm not saying, and I'm going to say this again, I'm not saying that there are ways for you to claim the ESSMB. But do you have the standings to do it and how to go about it? Believe it or not, I know I don't. And I know that those people that haven't got the refunds don't neither.
Thank you very much for that advice. I am new to this, so I am not going to say I know anything. And I was wondering, where can I get information that's more structured so I can understand exactly how to file those returns?
And what does it mean to be in good standing? Obviously, a lot of us have done some of these processes, but what does it mean? This question, I suppose, is to MAME. So we talked about the CP 575 and we talked about the EXMD. So in your opinion,
Whoever is talking, can you put your volume up?
I think I got him. Could you repeat what you asked?
yeah. So I asked. You mentioned you have to be in good standing, and that was talking about. So the kind of processes that you mentioned is the CP 575, and then you mentioned the ES and V filing. So when a lot of us have done these processes. So what does it mean to be in good standing to enable these processes to potentially go through? So does it mean that we need to say that we are, I don't know, that we've taken over our estate, or, is there any examples that you can give us?
Well, it's very simple. To be in good standing when it comes to your ESSMBs, hold on one second, because I was having a hard time hearing you. So let me put my headphones. Give me a second, guys, please. Let me connect my Bluetooth to make sure. 1 second.
Yeah, ma'am has an amazing microphone. That's how we can hear the traffic so well.
I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let me move from here. Hold on 1 second. Let me move from here.
I don't mind. Helps distract me from the cold wilderness I live in.
I apologize. I was outside, guys. I had to step outside. Okay. So in good standings is, I'm going to ask you something. Let's say you did your CP 575, right? So please explain to me where those credits are coming from your CP 575.
Okay, so I haven't necessarily done it to step, but I'm looking at some of the processes that I've seen online. So the process that I saw is that they have bonded the $1 note to the CP 575 to create I think it's the $10 billion dollar credit to fund the entity.
Okay.
That's from what I've been like reading. Yeah. And so with that process, what I've read is that what the instruction reads is that once that's bonded, that is credited to your EIN, and then what the process also says is that in order to see it on your SSN ID.me, you do an A for the acquisition to happen, and then once that is done, you put in a 1099 OID, which you claim, I believe, 24% of it. This is just what I'm reading, so I'm just trying to understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your perspective.
Okay.
And what
Okay.
yeah.
But that's what you did. But
No,
where
that's
did
what I've read. That's what I've read. So.
Okay. Okay. Yes. But see, the thing about it is, what did you bonded? But remember, you have a master file, right? And in your master file, they have the different processes, I will say, or transactions that have created interest, right? So where did you link whatever they're saying? You have to be specific on where those credits that you are claiming. Let's say this that you read, right? They did this whole process, but you have to be able to be specific on from where are those credits coming from. And I'm going to give you a golden nugget right here. Okay? And when I first came to Recoupers, not Recoupers, but this whole credits processes back in 2022, I jumped in because I was invited to do home equity reconversion. And the very first thing that you need to acquire in order for you to be able to claim your credits from your mortgage note, you have to be able to track your QSIP number. Okay? With your QSIP number, you know that your mortgage note was monetized. Any other document that is required because of standards, legal standards for the process, it's not as relevant as the QSIP, because the QSIP is the proof. That's the only proof that you need, that you are showing them that you are fully aware that they have been monetizing your mortgage note. I'm just using my example because this is my background, okay? So, right there and then, you have all the standing grounds. I have all the standing grounds to go and claim everything that my mortgage note has generated. Okay? That is a standing. That is something that will, when faced with the IRS, I have all the knowledge to give them my standings, where I'm coming from, where my credits are coming from, if that clear your question. I just used a very specific scenario because that's how this works. See, like I said, I'm not saying that there are people out there doing it. Kudos to them. But here, for the people that is coming into Recoupers, okay, doing this process, understand that you, at one point, are going to be presented with questions, and you need to be able to answer those questions. And one of the very specific questions that I want everybody to keep in mind is, you have to show them where those credits are coming from.
Okay. So my assumption is that my assumption is that the credits will be coming from, say, for example, you do the CP575 for a trust, right? And for, let's say it's a foreign trust and then, or domestic trust. And then you would do the acquisition on your SSN, which is where the credits will be coming from. So you do it against the trust and your SSN.
Have you funded your trust?
No. This is like from the notes that I've been reading. So I was just trying to.
Well, I'm going to tell you something here, and I'm going to disclose very personal, my very personal experience. Okay?
Yeah, please.
See, if you haven't done it, keep on doing more study where the credits are coming from. Okay. I had a one-on-one with the IRS in regards of the funding that I did on my trust because of what you're talking about. Okay. I did. The reason why I'm addressing the issue of the CP575 and the aid that it was filed on the 9.6 million that I was claiming on my filing on the trust, everything that you're doing, I'm grateful that the IRS agent saw grace in me and took the time to educate me and took it upon herself to bring the light and share the knowledge that I needed to understand before my file was transferred to the fraud department. Okay? So be careful, guys. Be careful what you guys are doing. It's not fun to be put in a place where you know that you are being investigated. Okay? I'm very grateful because of all the knowledge that that individual shared with me, and that gave me and empowered me to voice what I have been voicing in the past, I believe, 3 Saturdays, if I'm not mistaken, Stephen. It's important, people. It's important, people, that, and I have been attacked. I have been attacked like you guys have no idea, because I have never say what I just said about me, my personal experience and how I got all this information. Okay? And it's sad to see members here that when you bring knowledge to the community to try to help people from getting in harm ways by trying to correct their record, and you're being attacked. It's sad, guys. I had people attacking me, not knowing where I'm coming from. All I need is, I don't even need to be here. I can just keep on working on my things happy because I know what I know now, right? And I'm super happy because what this agent shared with me has helped me correct my record. And I know I'm in a good place now. I don't need to be here. But it's, like I said, I have been in this journey for 16 years. So I work with the community. So I'm used to this. I'm used to being attacked, but I never expect people to come into my DM or when I post a comment to try to bring clarity to people that I see that I'm reaching out to those who have caused harm. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to say, well, this is what I think. Fine, that's how you think, keep it moving. But this is what I know with facts. These are facts that I'm bringing to the table. Okay? Personal experience. And like I said, records need to be corrected. So if I'm not saying that it cannot be done, go ahead and do it. But think about it, guys. Just think about it. like this is what she told me. Where are these millions of dollars coming from? Well, my master file and, all the mumbo jumbo, right, that is being said here. Because let me tell you something here. And this goes for the leaders that are here promoting all these processes and monetizing these processes. Okay. Understand that it's very easy to be here behind your computer, your iPad, or your phone, creating scenarios. And it's a whole different thing when you are talking to somebody from the IRS. Let that sink in. And for those that are paying fees to get this information, how to create an EIN number, your CAF number, all that stuff you can have access in YouTube or here in RECOUPERS, guys. This is your life. This is your baby. This is your baby. Treat it with care. Protect it. And be wise. Build discernment. And think that if there is people here monetizing these processes and they haven't got any results themselves, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace, guys. Once you get your process completed and you get funds in your bank account, that means that you had no issues with your filings. Take off running and charge whatever you want to charge. Be kind with our community and share the information, and that's fine. Monetize the shit out of it if you like, because what you are sharing has proof of concept. But if you're just going to be flashing income tax filings for years and years where you haven't gotten any positive result, come on now.
Is there a listening to a specific situation you're talking about?
I'm speaking, whoever it is talking right now. So
It's indigenous.
My point here is be wise, people. Be wise. And I'm speaking in general. In general. Be wise and make sure that those that are teaching and charging you to teach you to do the process that are here in RECOUPER have gotten their process through the IRS and have gotten their funds in their bank account. That should be a normal standard. That should be a normal standard. Why? Because you're going to be put in harm's ways. You will be put in harm's ways because if they have been doing this and they haven't gotten their deposits, their returns in their bank account, it's because something is not right with their filings. It's that simple. It's that simple. And I'm not here to debate anybody. That is my personal opinion as I walk through this path and I have learned and I have got my personal experience, and that's what I'm sharing. I'm not here to debate with anybody else. If you disagree, keep it to yourself. I'm not here to debate with anybody. I'm here to make a statement, answer questions in a way that will benefit you, meaning you, those that want to hear it and are ready to hear it and are ready to do the process the proper way to get your refund.
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, for example, you're the CP5. So I have done that CP575 process where, so I have a CP575 coming from the sole prop that I created.
I submitted a 1099A on Iris. And so now my transcript is reflecting the, I think it's like 2.147 billion on the transcript. And I got stuck with, okay, now what do I want to do? This whole process was done because I am actually trying to finish or do my 1040 for 2024. And, it's not like I don't want to make billions or get millions or whatever. I would love to have a 1040 that I don't have to just pay taxes. But I'm like, what do you mean by, did you fund I think you said those words? Did you fund your account? Is that what you said?
No, your trust.
Your trust. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Aiko.
Yes.
This is what I did. This is what I was told from the IRS agent, okay, to do, okay?
Okay.
You need to go and zero out whatever it is that you did. Because, see, you have to prove where those credits are coming from. See, we're not trying to create animosity with the IRS. We're not, how can I say this? What we want, our main goal should be have access to our credits, right? And the path of less resistance for to start up the process. Okay, let's say to start up the process, because see, we all came together with the Kia process and are non-dissident. Just stick for now until you get the knowledge. And like I said, I'm not saying that it's not doable, guys. And I know a lot of people have different opinions, and I respect that. And I said it from the beginning. If you have the standings, if you have the knowledge to move at that level, go ahead and do it. But if you're going to be here asking like you, respectfully, sis, do not take this wrong, okay, at all. I'm talking from a place of love and gratitude and respect. But see, if you are here asking how to move forward with the filing that you did, you have no business doing it. And that was my situation. I had no business doing something that I didn't have no standings. And how do we fix that? Correct the record. We're not pointing fingers because we are all adults. We are here for one purpose, and that is to bring remedy to ourselves, our families, and live our life. Because we have been, our blue card person has been monetized. There are interests in our master files that are sitting and it's right there. But like I said, just start with claiming your credits from your bank accounts and your credit card payments. That's it. I'm sorry, credit card payments and bank accounts deposits. Do your ABBs and just try to get funds into your account. And then acquire all the knowledge from those that have been successful in getting all those billions of dollars in their bank account. Follow them, ask them for guidance and how they did it. And if you have to pay them, because now that you have gotten results from your 1040 filing and you got the credits from your ABBs, now you have funds, go pay somebody to guide you through it. Find the ones that have been successful doing those processes that are high level. That's how I call them. That I myself had no business doing because I did not have the knowledge at that time. I did not have the knowledge that I have now to be messing with millions of dollars that I have no standings. And the IRS agent was so kind that she explained to me how to build the credits. But I'm going to leave that for another time. Okay?
Understood. I appreciate.
So, my pleasure, my pleasure. So, if anybody wants to come here and debate me, I'm not here to debate anybody, okay? I'm just here. I'm just
Thank you for
here.
clearing.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you, MAM Inc. I
Okay.
appreciate your feedback on
You're welcome.
to be in good standing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, man.
Peace, families. This
You're very
is
welcome.
Indigenous. On Peace God we trust. How you doing, ma'am?
Brother, amazing.
Yes. Always a pleasure to hear your voice.
Thank you.
There's definitely no debating. There's nothing you have mentioned that's irregular or wrong. I would give advice to anyone that's being guided by an individual. Please do your own research, regardless
Hold
of
on one
who
second.
teaches you.
Hold on one second. Indigenous. Yeah, but when you came in, you say, are you talking about a specific person? So I feel like, you're
I'm
coming
talking
in with
about
an
a
energy
Pacific.
that is, I just felt that you
I'm
were
not
coming
talking
here.
about a specific person. You're not listening. You need to let me
No,
finish first.
I
Because
felt
you're assuming I'm
that
talking.
you came here with an energy that kind of disrupt the energy that was already in the group.
You
So
never
just
let me
take a
finish
deep
just
breath.
now. The energy will change if you let me finish. You have no idea what I'm
Respectfully.
about to say at all. And you have to let me finish, Miss Ma'am. Like we just let you finish. This is only proper. I'm not speaking about a specific situation. Maybe that's what you're thinking about. I'm telling people, period. No matter who is guiding your knowledge, rather if you're ready to file or not, do your research on everything that's being taught to you. That goes with anyone, anybody, even on YouTube. Do your research on a YouTube video you look at, even an IRS agent. IRS agent's not going to lie to you, but do your research on what she's talking about. It gives you more knowledge of what you're about to do, or what world you're about to enter. You have to have a full understanding and understanding on what you're doing. So yes, there is a trial and error on what we do because there's no classes on teaching you how to properly do it. And in most cases, when you call the IRS agent, you got to make sure you call the right one because they all don't know what they're doing. They're in different sections. They don't know everything. So you're right. If you pay your money for someone to teach you, make sure they have proven remedy, not just someone that just, it sounds good. So I agree to you. I agree, ma'am, on everything you just said. Because after what's being taught to you, you're supposed to do your own research. And that's what you did. You called the IRS agent and you got the right answer. I will give that advice to everyone. Do your own research, regardless if you feel that is right or not, regardless of who's teaching you this. Do your own research.
Yep. Trustless environment. Is that Niels?
Yeah. Hello. I just want to add, Christina Wilson had a really good video on her channel. She was really crying also that people should research herself. And even she was regularly recording a video on the IRS agent say, but the one who have to ask is you. If us doesn't ask the agent cannot do nothing. So if us asking the agent, what can you help me to correct the record? Then the agent have the authority. If we don't ask the agent to do nothing, even the authority above them, they say that, oh, you have a lot of credit, but we don't see it, but they see it. So then if we are asking them, can you fix the record to pay the tax with the credit? So that is really good advice. But she gets fed up with working for them because the boss always monetizing what she's doing. Yeah. So anyway, it's like a strange guideline they are under. So yeah. really recommend
No.
to see her video. Yeah.
No, that's a good point. No, because I've seen that from another video of someone who was former IRS. Yeah. So they can do things, but they can't tell us they can do things because we're supposed to have proper standing to know that they can do things. So, yeah. So they're not just all there to say, no, you can't do that. That they're seeing if we can pass the competency check to know that they can do things that they won't tell us about and they can't tell us about unless we ask them about it. So, good point. Good reminder.
Stephen, I was just going to mention there then. So we have to really, in terms of like good standing, I suppose we have to really act as the fiduciary in a sense where we have to make those decisions and direct the IRS to do what we want them to do. Is that?
Well, okay. So it's not so much as you directing them to do what you want to do, because that individual you're dealing with may not necessarily have the authority to do it. It's more of a telling them what you want to have happen, and if they can assist you with making that happen, right? They're fiduciaries.
Who's fiduciaries?
The IRS is fiduciaries.
Okay.
So, right? They are fiduciaries. But also, same thing. If a kid comes up to you and says, I want to go play in the boiling hot lava pool, you say, that's not your best idea.
No. I suppose what I meant to say is that it's similar to what someone mentioned, as in like, they can't just give you a solution unless you ask. So in order to actually ask them to support you on, some sort of filing, then you have to actually know what you're doing. So it's really about like taking responsibility of what you're actually doing in order to know what needs to be done in order to explain that to the IRS agent to make that process happen.
Exactly.
Or to assist with that process. Maybe it's just the temperament of the language, Yeah.
Right. I mean, because you might connect to the wrong agent who can't because they don't have that authority within the role that they sit in.
Mm.
So, I mean, you may be perfectly well and fine within whatever it is that you're attempting to do, but they can't, whoever you contacted, they can't assist you.
Mm.
So it's not so much, because people record these stuff and put them online all the time. It's like, oh, they get an agent that says, like, I can't help you with that. They never said they couldn't do it or that it couldn't be done. They straight up said, I can't. Right? So then it's like, catch it. Be like, okay. Is there anyone that you are aware of that can assist me with that? Since you didn't say it can't be done, you said that you can't do it. Because like everyone's been in a job, everyone has different roles within a job. Everyone knows that everyone in a job can't do everything related to a job or within an entire corporation.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the IRS is the exact same way. So it's don't be like, oh no, they defeated me, they're against me, rah. No, it's like, okay, the person I'm talking to can't help.
No, I'm never effective on the telephone, I've had similar roles to that. It's not very pleasant.
Right.
So yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's always, and even like Indigenous said, you need to make sure that you tech and do your own research. I'm getting some echo. Who is that? I don't think it's ma'am. No. Ma'am, is that you? Am I getting feedback from your mic?
No. I opened my mic because I wanted to say, let me make sure it's clear that I never said that you can't. As long as you have the standings to do it, go for it. Go and do your research on those who have already completed those processes and got their millions of dollars and get educated, get the education that is required to do those processes.
Right.
I want to make sure, guys, that that my word and my message is delivered clear. That is clarity. Okay? Those credits.
Yeah, because this is totally true.
Yes, all those credits belong to us. But
yeah, and we share a mutual group. I'm not sure if you've seen it or not, but we share a mutual group. And what ma'am says and what Indigenous have said, they're both right. If you have proper standing, and even if you have the proper comprehension and competency, but you lack to know exactly where to go to accomplish a particular task, they can still help, right? Because that's their job. But all of the things can be done with the proper standing, including bankrupting an entire country. If you have proper standing, you can do it if you know what you're doing and if you have the right access to do it. So it's like, don't be discouraged. Do your own research. Follow the people who know and have accomplished the things that you want to do.
Exactly. And get all the knowledge. So when you will see, the thing with me, I wasn't intimidated because I asked her, well, then how can you help me? How can you be of help to me so I can claim my trust funding? So how can I go about it? And she was very knowledgeable, and I got the information. But see, right now, and even though, let me clear this, even though I have my CUSIPs from my mortgages, and I have millions on those CUSIPs, okay? But right now, because of all the CP 575 that I claim and are on my transcripts, I need to clear my transcripts, zero everything out, make sure that it's everything is being corrected before I bring my CUSIPs in. So I know what I'm talking about in terms of how I want to go about my own process. And when I see people asking questions about mostly the CP 575, you need to go and connect with those who have done it but have done it and got results, because hundreds of people did it. But you want to connect to the ones who got results. Even if you have to pay them, go for it. Get educated, because you will be asked questions that you want to be able to answer, and I want everyone to access all the credits that they deserve. But you have to have your proper standings, and you have to be able to elaborate and show competency when it comes to that amount of money, guys. We're talking about millions of dollars. I know somebody who was able to do their birth certificate. And I know all the heat that this individual went through when he was touching the very first negotiable instrument. And I know all about it, because they try to mess with your head. But he was prepared. He had the knowledge, and it still was intimidated. He told me that the reason why he did not ask for more than what he requested was because he was intimidated. Because when you are messing with millions of dollars, that is a whole different level that you need to be prepared. We're not talking about $250,000 ESSMB. No, that is a whole different level. You need to be ready. Respectfully, you need to be ready.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's something we hadn't talked about in a while because no one's asked about it, and I haven't reminded anyone of it. So it's going down this path. If you are not thinking about what the life of abundance is that you're searching for, you won't be prepared when it arrives. So if you haven't thought about what you're going to do with millions of dollars, you can just start. Because it's not just leave it in one bank, insurance issues. Put it under your mattress, liability issues. buy all sorts of stuff that depreciate in value, out of money, same spot you're in now.
Oh,
So
you have to have
gotta have a plan.
a project.
Yeah.
No, one of the things that is required, guys, and this I knew from way back then because of the CEO of the association where I was a team leader. You do need a community project business plan. That right there is game change for anyone who wants to access millions of dollars. Okay? That's a golden nugget right there. You want to keep on going the route of your CP575 work. If you don't have yet visualize or you don't have it in your agenda, try to work into bringing that into your agenda. A community project business plan that will put millions in your account. But you have to have it, very well elaborated. But I just have to share that with you guys. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you. Absolutely. And that is the time allocated
Stephen,
today.
I'm sorry. Can I say one thing, please?
Sure.
I have not filed my taxes yet. And I asked you this before. And I'm not a tax preparer. I've never done my taxes. But I'm having an issue with the Form 1040. Is there anything on Recoupers that I can refer to?
Well, possibly. What's the issue, though?
Where do I put the figure? Do I put anything down? Do I leave it blank other than my personal information, like the amounts? I know you said it would be something about wages, and because it's not income, I understand that. Not from where the funds generated from, as far as wages. So that's where I'm having my issue at.
Well, possibly. I'm trying to rack my brain exactly what we discussed before. So if it's something that's coming from,
so it's on the 1099 A and 2Bs, and
right, okay, those amounts on the 1040 would be documented under what's proceeds, and it's under what's that field number? I don't remember off the top of my head. I hadn't looked at it because I'm just waiting for the IRS to get their heads out of their backsides.
I did have it up. I think it was. Oh, that's not it.
Well, because when you go through the documentation of the ABB, you have the documentation of your proceeds from this, and it has a cost basis. But the amounts that are being withheld are federal tax withholding.
Okay. So
right. So on the 1040 form, if you're documenting your federal tax withholding, there's a line specifically for that. And you need to make sure that you have your 1096 that goes along with such information for those A's and B's.
And you said that, yeah, okay, I understand.
Right.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out where. Okay, I do have it up, but I did see it on here, so I just look for it again. I just didn't want to go like line A1. It talks about the total amount from Form W2. I know that is not something that I would fill out, but it also has the household employment, that's wages not reported on Form W2, and that is line 1.
Right, yeah, that's not wages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wages like per diem and whatnot.
Okay. I'll look for it. So a lot of this I will leave blank. That's the my understanding on what I was reading earlier. Is that correct?
Wait, I mean, if it doesn't pertain to you, just leave it blank.
Right. Okay.
And they do have some particular lines where it's like, if you don't have a value that should go there, you'll enter like a specific, dash, zero dash.
Okay.
But follow their instructions. They're very information dense, but it does go over everything.
Okay. Because I see something here that says payments, and it has forms 1099. I don't know what that's talking about, but that's
yeah, because your 1099 A's and B's.
Mm-hmm.
So you just read, definitely have the information document for the 1040 because it goes over line by line specifically what it's looking for.
Yeah.
Like, that the reference on that particular line is like they're talking about 1099s.
Okay.
Great. You got 1099s, but read the instructions.
Okay.
Because they will be the thing that clarifies exactly what they're looking for in regards to 1099 data.
Okay. Okay.
Hi.
Thank you.
I have a quick question before we close. I'm sorry.
Okay. Last question is you.
All right. Thank you. So I would like to know, I'm doing the 1099 ABB, and when I was going through one of my credit cards, a couple of my credit cards, I found out that they had no credit limit. So I'm not quite sure if to just leave it as it is, or because if I wanted to claim it, what limit would I put on conveniently? Also, I'd like to say a lot of these processes, everyone is new to this space. And so if we're trying to learn something that is not readily available to us, it's very difficult navigating, what is and what is not. Like recently, I've been a notary for almost 15 years now. And it only came to my understanding that if you put on your document notary public, it's actually for the corporation. It's actually designed by the corporation. But if we want to be out of that jurisdiction, it has to be public notary. Not everybody would know this, so you would go along with it thinking, oh, no, okay, this is okay, fine. But I found out from Anna Van Rides or something through reading or research that this is how notary public should actually be worded, especially in our documents and in our trust. But if you don't have that knowledge because of what we think we know already, it's going to be difficult to change or say, or even for people to know the difference. Oh, there's an all caps name and there's a difference between that and your small caps name, and there's a difference between writing in blue pen or ink pen. This information or knowledge, unless you come to it, you would just go with the flow, not knowing that you're doing something wrong. So I think at the end of the day, how would you get that knowledge until you research? How would you get that knowledge? And even if sometimes if you research, you're not going to get all that correct information, so as to speak. But anyway, I digress. I would like to know what to do with the 1099 ABB for credit limits that are not stated. Thank you, and I yield.
Yeah. Are you sure it's not a charge card and not a credit card? Because usually charge cards have no limit. You just have to pay them back within the 30 days.
Well, it is. It's like it's an Amex card. So I don't know how that is a charge. See, I don't even know if that exists.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds. Yeah. Amex is really like one of the holdouts that I know of that still does the charge cards. Because they just basically keep a float of your credit and they never actually tell you what you're approved for. But depending upon the individual, right? Because there are some people that are really affluent to have these things. You like go out and buy a G6 aircraft, private.
Right.
They do it and they have that limit and they can pay it back instantly if they felt like it. So these people do exist. So they have massive credit lines that the Amex gets to enjoy. So it's not very common. For that particular case, because you really don't know what your credit limit is that they're using.
Exactly.
Go with what you have utilized.
Okay.
Right. So if you've used, I'm just going to pull this number out there. If you've used 20,000 in 1 month before, you know for certain your credit is at least 20,000.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Right?
That makes sense.
Right?
That makes sense. Yes, absolutely.
Because the one thing that is particular about Amex with charge cards, if an individual starts spending way too much from their usual, that's going to get near their threshold level, they're going to let you know.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Right. So
absolutely
be conservative, because the thing that you don't want to do is be super greedy and then you get, crucified. You don't want to do that. You go with what you know, because you can prove what you know. So if you know how much you have spent, use that. Right.
Well,
so you got a slight disadvantage because if they're using 3, 4, 5, 6 times whatever amount of your utilization you do use, you're missing out technically.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
she use a bank statement just to tally up what she spent
I
throughout
looked
the
at
year?
my bank statement, the statement, and there was
Yeah.
nothing. I've not even used it because I've had it since 2016, and I didn't realize that I never have used it, and I didn't realize that when I was checking out the statements that it had a 0 on it, and so when I was clicking around, okay, where's the credit limit and stuff, or how much have I spent from it since 2016? I didn't see anything, and so I clicked on this icon where it says credit limit, and then it says this card does not have a credit limit. And it's pay as you go kind of thing. So yeah.
One second, because they do have some stuff where you can guess, because it's not infinite, right?
Right.
It's like they don't have a capped limit, but they just don't also give them out to everybody either. So you must meet a particular credit profile to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there is an amount there. It's just
but it's only when I should use it and it hits that limit, then I would know, because I can confidently say I've not used it for the last 10, 15 years. I don't think I've ever used it. And there's about 2 or 3 of them that had the same information on it. So, yeah. But anyways, I think I'll just leave it as is. That's going to just be a backup. I'll not touch it and then go on ahead with my other 1099 ABB processes. So,
yeah. So go with conservative stuff. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. No, use it and create a debt. And I thought about that. It's like, well, you could just go out and try and buy a $50,000 car. That's not a joke. I mean, you could definitely do it. Yeah. I mean, I am the type of person who would do something like that. So that's why I can just throw that out there. That approach is not for everybody, 100%.
Okay.
But yeah, so you could absolutely do something like that, right?
Right.
Because there is an amount. They've been taking an advantage of amount. They never told you how much they've been taking advantage of before either.
That's what I want to know at least.
Right. It's like there are things that you can buy that will put large chunks onto that thing that anyone can find usable, right?
Okay.
Or you could just prep for the impending collapse of the precious metal market so you can hedge your bets. Hint, hint. And then you have a thing that will appreciate in value, especially since the finance sector is collapsing and everyone's escaping New York to Shanghai with gold and silver, that you're going to capitalize on that, right?
Right. Okay.
So you'll know for a fact that you can buy this, this, and that, and use those values for every month in the ABB calculation.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
But with the ABB calculation, also understandably, if you still want to continue to have a business, repertoire, you don't have to do the A, is my understanding. You just do the BB, the first B and second B. Because the A, from what my understanding, what I comprehend is that the A actually cuts off the credit line to the corporation, and then that all rolls into your account. However, if you do not wish to close the credit line, then you're going to have to do the 1099 B and B. Is that correct?
That could very well be the case. Someone with intimate details of that probably exists inside of the IRS. Right? We see effects of what we do. We don't exactly know how it works because the details of that are inside of that walled garden.
Mm-hmm.
So that may very well be the very thing that causes businesses to just, cancel things.
Right.
It's because that is. Right? We can't say for definitive because, one, we're not on the inside. But we do know for a fact people who have done that have had their stuff canceled. So
Right.
It would take some very adventurous spirits to try and do that without that first A, as long as they're fine with losing something, right?
Right.
Especially if you've had a thing for years. Like if you've had a credit card for years, even if it's like $1,200 a month for a credit limit, that adds up if you've had it for several years. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And if you had ones that are much larger than that, it's huge amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
Or credit. It's not really money.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Great question. Because it is a thing, it exists, and it does impact others, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because I've watched 2 different videos. Sometimes therein also lies where you want to find the truth. You're seeking for the truth. You're researching for the truth. And so sometimes I'll go, you want to stick with one thing, but then, okay, what if that one thing is not the truth? And then you go to a second item, and then oops, that a second item is telling you something totally different. Then you have two opinions right now, and then it's like, where do you go? You know, it's kind of like a maze out there with these processes. Because when I watched several times, I've watched the Kia and Holly process, Kia explaining it. She started off with a 1099 B and B. She didn't do anything with the A's. So then I watched another, video instruction, and then they started with a 10 A, saying that you need to claim it, because the A means abandonment of acquisition and abandonment of of a property. So then later on, it turns out that, well, if you do that A, that means you're canceling the credit line of the corporation that has it in line already. So now I'm trying to navigate it, because I was just ready to send off these, and then it's like I hit a roadblock, and it's like, okay, first I need to understand which is which, what is what, because I'm getting to confirmation. But here's the case: if I just went with just one thing that I knew from Kia, I wouldn't have known the other aspect also, So sometimes there's that delay, there's that dilemma of what to do. And I'm grateful and thankful that there is, a community of like-minded people to navigate this terrain and figure it all out, And like the lady also spoke, that at the end of the day, to also seek to go to those who have had experience, if they are even willing to be of any source of help or collaboration, that is to say.
Yeah. I mean, and to put it a more simpler way, sometimes the path you're on where you think you're getting a distraction actually shows you an aspect of the thing you were initially going for that you hadn't considered to begin with.
Right.
And if you had acted, could have been detrimental.
Correct.
So it's not that you're getting sidetracked. It's you're learning more about a topic in a way that you didn't know that you needed to learn about it.
Right.
So sometimes the path is not straight and broad. It's a winding, full of switchbacks, sometimes dangerous, but always to your benefit path. Right?
Understandable. Right. I agree.
So,
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you for your question and very valuable insight.